I went totally blind driving down a freeway 90 miles per hour at 2 o'clock in the morning. It just went black completely. I survived that. My sight was gone. I just completely gave up because I just thought my life was over. There's no future for me. I can't do anything as a blind person because I didn't know anything about blind people. My 5-year-old comes and knocks on the door and he says, "Mama, I'm hungry." And something clicked right then and there. What is wrong with me? My life is not over. Right then and there is the day that I took my life back. To this day, I love hearing them say, my mom is the strongest, most amazing woman I've ever met. And because what they've seen and how I am, that makes me happy and proud that my kids look at me in that way. You're at home thinking your life is over, I can't do it, because you haven't seen anybody that is blind like you that has done it. Success to me is the fact that somebody is now stepping into their role in life as a confident blind individual.
A green-tinted screen and braille lettering pops up that turns into the white Lighthouse of Houston logo. The Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential cover art pops up on screen. There's a flash, then clips of Jennifer's eye, her walking down the hall, and reading braille appear. A montage of clips from episodes of the podcast begins with Jennifer talking to our guests and smiling. It zooms in on the Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential cover art.
Hey everybody, welcome to another fabulous episode of Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential. My name is Jennifer Parrish. I am your hostie with the mostie, and today we have a very special episode for you guys. Our guest is Victoria Hillard. Victoria is the manager of training and education here at the Lighthouse of Houston, and she's going to share her journey with vision loss, her inspiring career progression, and her dedication to empowering the blind and low vision community through mentorship and assistive technology. Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
How you doing, girl?
I'm doing good.
All right. Well, so before we get started, guys, as always, we're going to describe our set for our blind viewers. We're sitting in blue chairs with wooden tables next to us. We have a white brick background, blue lights, and a neon lighthouse sign. All right, Victoria, let's get into it, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Yay, she's finally here. The queen has arrived.
I want to thank you for having me. I'm so glad. I mean, this podcast is just amazing. You guys have had some great people on here, and I have been following, and so glad that I finally made it.
And let's say to everyone else, if you like what you see here, please follow and subscribe.
Yes.
Do that for us. We appreciate it. And again, now we're going to get back into Victoria and her beautiful story. So let's start. And why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself in general, and then your vision loss journey.
All right. Well, so I am, of course, Victoria Hillard, and actually something that not too many people know, my first name is actually Saida.
Yes.
So my name is Saida, and I go by Victoria Hillard.
It's my mom's name.
Well, yay.
Yes.
See? Okay. So, and then I am, I have been blind for 20 years now.
Wow.
I come from, the sighted world, as we say. I had a very interesting journey coming through the blind community and just, going blind all of a sudden at the age of 30, actually. And so a little before that, I'm a mom. I had 4 children. I have 5 children now, but I had 4 as a sighted parent. I had 1 when I totally blind, and just a wife and a grandmother as well now. So I'm very family. I got a lot of love and support around me and things of that nature. And so I also working professionally. I am now the manager of education and training here, but it took me a long journey to get here as well. I went to school. I did 2 degrees. I had a associate's in psychology. That was a baby step to see if I can do it, because as a blind person, going to school is, it's not the easiest.
No, ma'am.
And so I said, well, if I can finish this 2-year degree, then, I can keep on going. And I finished it. But when I got to my bachelor's, I said, I'm not doing psychology. It was way too hard. I seen the classes. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not doing it. So I switched over to human services. So I have a bachelor's degree in that and finished there. And then, did some entrepreneurial journeys and I had a successful development coaching business. I was a professional development coach for over 15 years, and that was for profit. Then stopped doing that and started doing it for my blind and visually impaired or low vision. community. And so now offer that to the community at no cost and just want to empower by doing that for others. So a little bit about me.
Awesome. So let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
So, so you lost your vision at 30 and you have 4 kids.
Yes.
So talk about how that impacted your life. And if you don't mind us asking how did you lose your vision? Talk about how it impacted your life and then impacted your life as a parent of 4 kids. And I'm sure they're like all over the place age-wise then, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now, it's such a funny story because let's see, my oldest was at the time 12. My youngest was 5.
Wow.
So and then in between it was 12, 11, 9, or 7, something. See, don't get me to getting those numbers. It's too many of them. Okay. But the youngest was 5, and so it was when I went blind. It was kind of a week-long process, and something happened, and nobody knew what happened or why. But the people don't believe me when I tell this story, and it's the honest to God truth. I went totally blind driving down a freeway 90 miles per hour at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was on the freeway driving. Now, I was already going through the what's going on with my vision. It just started getting worse and worse. Started with not being able to see the lights and things like that. And so I was that was within a couple of days. And then that final day when I was on the freeway at 2 o'clock in the morning, it just went black completely. And
Holy crap.
Luckily I was familiar, and luckily it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
So no one's on the road?
Yes, because I don't know how I did it, but I pulled over. I ended up safely pulling over. I was in the fast lane.
Oh my God.
And,
was this in now Victoria's originally from California.
Yes,
so
I am a Cali girl.
Cali
yes,
girl.
I am.
So is this like the 101?
It was it was a highway. So it was a little smaller, it wasn't a big thing, but but it did. And I don't know if you guys have them here, but the freeway ends into downtown, so it turns into a street. So it's no longer a freeway; it turned into a street, and so it was just crazy. So I just pulled over, and 911 thought I was joking.
Yeah,
I'm like,
they
called
probably thought you were DUI.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyways, that was that, and I survived that. But then, my sight was gone, and. It was about, and everybody, it's different for everyone. So I don't want to say that, people have a set amount of time to accept and embrace and move forward with their life as a blind person. Yeah. But I did about 6 months of isolation. Yep. I blocked it, didn't want to see anybody, didn't want to, I just completely gave up because I just thought my life was over. Mm-hmm. There's no future for me. Who's going to, I can't do anything as a blind person because I don't know blind people. I didn't know anything about blind people. Right. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles. Right. Those are not my peers. I don't have Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles money. So,
their numbers, or their money.
Or their money, or their talent, none of that stuff. So that's the only blind people I knew. And so, one day in my stupor, I was in that dark room. Sure. That was even darker, right? And my 5-year-old comes and knocks on the door, and he says, "Mama, I'm hungry." And something, and I said, I don't even know if I responded. He's like, "Can you make me something to eat?" And something clicked right then and there. I said, the fact that I cannot see, but my child, who I am responsible for, is still coming to me to ask me, can I fix him something to eat? Yeah. What is wrong with me? My life is not over. Am I going to sit here and fold because of blindness, because something happened to me? Am I going to show my kids that I'm going to give up and not be able to take care of them because of blindness? Oh, no. Right then and there is the day that I took my life back. And I got up and I said, you know what, you're right. Come on, we're gonna make this happen. And so we go in there and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell you, what's this? Where's the bread? Let's do this together. And from that moment on, before I even got blindness training or anything, I did my own kitchen. I tactiled my own stuff. I labeled my own things and just figured it out on my own because my kids depend on me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that. And I want them to know that no matter what happens, we will survive and we will go on.
Absolutely. What did your kids like? Did they help you, or are they like?
Yeah,
Whoa.
they did. They did. I think I had a lot to do with, so once my kids realized that my mom is still strong and can do it, there was it was like, Mom, can you wash my clothes? Can you make me something? Now it's like there's my mom's not blind.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not blind.
Right.
I mean, I did stuff. I was team mom for their football teams as a blind person.
Really?
I made sure, because it's not my kids' fault that I'm blind.
No.
I mean, why should their life be any different?
Yeah.
And so no, they handled it well. And to this day, and I get kind of fuzzy inside when I say this, but my kids to this day, I love hearing them say, my mom is the strongest, most amazing woman I've ever met and I ever know. And because of what they've seen and how I am, that makes me happy and proud that my kids look at me in that way.
What are, and I know we talked about some challenges, but what are some more, kind of challenges after the initial shock wore off that you've kind of had to overcome?
I think for me, one of the biggest challenges for me was like other people in my family, right?
Yeah.
And being able to let me be me.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. And I know there's no ill will. Like, no, they didn't mean wrong, right? But
of
to
course,
this day, it's
but
still done.
It's new to them too.
It is new to them, and I accept that. But the thing is, it frustrated me because it made me feel like I couldn't be the woman forget about blind.
Yeah.
This is not about blind.
Right.
This is, I am a woman, I am independent,
right.
And you are enabling me from doing that.
Mm-hmm. Were they like just trying to help you do everything?
Oh, I got that.
I got it.
As soon as I stand up, my
what do you
need?
Yes.
What
do you need?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Where are you going?
Where are you going?
If I go to look for something, that's exactly what it was. And
I love my people too, but they do that. They will do that to me.
And they still do it.
They still do it. Love you guys, all of you, but y'all do it every time I make a move. Where are you going, Jay?
Yes. What
is that about?
If I put my hand out on my counter to feel it, that's how I'm looking. That's how I get something.
That's exactly right.
So my mom will come and, oh, what did you need? What do you need?
What do you need?
I got it. I didn't. I don't need
I'm just
that.
looking. Yep.
So yeah, and I think that was one of the things is that I always had to fight, like to prove that I got this, and it just gets it's so hard and frustrating at the same time, you know. But that was really overcoming, and then society, let's step outside the family.
Animal.
You know, the family is one thing, and that's internal and that's love. But there's people on the outside that think that I'm less than because my eyes don't work the way theirs does, and that is another thing that's frustrating.
Yeah.
I can do this. I don't need you to yell at me because I'm blind. I don't understand why you would think that I can't hear. I don't need you to talk to at the time, my 7-year-old child. Can you see what text she wants to do? Like, why are you talking to my child? I'm
right here. Exactly.
And then the things about, oh, you're doing such a good job with taking care of your mom. No, that's not their job.
No.
That's not my child's job. I'm the mom. I take care of him.
Right.
So, just things that society had to, had the way they view and the way I felt.
Yeah.
Viewed. And it, it puts a damper on me. And I think my self-esteem, took some jabs.
Yeah.
My confidence took some jabs.
Yeah.
My ego took some jabs.
Of course.
So it's hard. This is tough for us.
Yeah. Absolutely. Unfortunately, it's a common theme too.
It is.
It's terrible.
And that's why I am not alone.
No. I mean, that's the one beautiful thing that come out of it is, sister, we are in this together. We
are not alone.
Yeah.
And so I want everybody to know that.
And that's a great segue to us talking about the blind community and blind and low vision community. So you moved here to Houston when?
I moved here in 2015.
2015. Okay, because I think I saw you in the choir in like 2017. You were kind of quiet.
Yes.
And
it's 2017.
Right.
2018. So the funny thing is, when I moved here, when I was in California.
Yeah.
I'm from San Diego.
Right.
Okay. And I used to work at the Braille Institute in San Diego. And so I was surrounded by blind and low vision people.
Right.
The thing is that it was an institute. They were not my peers. They were not people that didn't have the same interests, or it was a little bit different. And sometimes with those type of places, some people might have, and I was an instructor, so everybody that I knew I was teaching, but some of them had other maybe cognitive issues or things like that. And so I was still felt so alone.
Yeah.
In San Diego. I felt like I was alone because these are not my peers. I felt like I had nobody.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I moved here in 2015, I was actually, it's funny because you said 2017, because for 2 years I lived here and it was just me and my family. And I didn't know anything about anything blind here, which is, and later on I'll talk about the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I started the things that I start, because to bring awareness to what's out here for the resources for us.
Exactly.
Because I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I was there and I ended up going to, I had a job for 2 years. I got a job by an accident, by the way. I worked at Goodwill Industries.
Okay.
And that was just because I had went in there to get a TV for my son. And I said, you know what, you guys should have me work here because I can have this. And the manager says, well, do you want a job? I mean, talk about getting a job handed to you. That had
Welcome to Texas.
That right? That's what I said. I said Texans are so just hospitable. I love them.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting that. So, but still, for 2 years, still had nobody in the low vision blind community. I didn't know anybody. And one day I was at, I lived in Katy, which is kind of on the outskirts, and so paratransit does not go there.
No.
So we had to meet at the Waffle House, which one of the best places. I love me some Waffle House. Didn't know about that in California, by the way. We don't have Waffle Houses out there. And so I'm sitting there at the booth eating breakfast, and then somebody else was in there, and it's almost like, if there's two blind people in there, it's like, hey, there's another blind person in here.
Yeah.
And so I met another person in there, and that was going to the exact same place. I was going to West Gray Multipurpose Center.
Oh, wow.
I was going to the exact same place, and he was like, hey, you're blind? And I'm like, yeah, you're blind. I mean, is this how we do it in Texas? We just walk around and meet blind people? And so when he brought me to the West Gray, we just happened to be going there at the same place, and I was introduced to blind people here, and from that moment on, and I will say my journeys was not as much as an independent, confident woman I thought I was. I had my own issues. I did not. I wouldn't carry my cane, by the way, for 12 years.
Yep, I understand that too.
Cane shame. I did not use my cane. I didn't leave my house without a sighted person. Okay. And when I came out here, and I think I got around some people, and they said, oh, we're going to go to Walmart, or we're going to go to out to have lunch. And I'm like, so my question, of course, right, was, who's taking you guys?
Right.
And they're, who's taking us? What? I'm like, yeah, who's taking you? Like, we're taking ourselves. And jaw drop, by yourself?
Right.
Exactly. And I'm like, and so from there, I said, you know what? Okay, wait. So you guys do things by yourself? And to this day, when people ask me what is my biggest accomplishment, I will always say, one of my biggest accomplishments is when I went to Walmart by myself. I love it. I'm like, when I tell you, I have never felt so empowered.
Yeah.
Just because, I didn't have to wait for one of my kids to come take me, or wait for this.
Yeah.
I didn't have to ask anybody to go with me.
Did you do shopper assistance you guys? Yeah.
I did.
Yes.
And my first experience was a great one, because, they have some stories.
They're
with those
shaky.
too. Yeah.
They're shaky.
That's a 50-50
We could do a whole other podcast on that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just, thankfully I got such a good one. And now it's like, I would prefer to go to Walmart by myself, besides taking my 17-year-old, like, she stays on her phone. And
right, she's not paying attention anyway.
They don't have it, Mom. They don't have it. I'm like, so this whole store doesn't have bread? Well,
right.
So,
exactly.
So I'd prefer to go by myself. But yeah, so those are, when I got here around this community, this Houston blind community is just so much, like, I don't know. I was so empowered, and it gave me so much hope, because I was starting to lose hope. And, we all go through that. Sometimes that depression might start kicking in, and we get those low moments, and, and look around, and there's always something that can bring me back out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in like all the community stuff you're doing? Like, I mean, because you went from 0 to like 9,000.
I know.
Holy
I did.
crap.
I did.
She got
So-
y'all. She's got her own podcast. She's
did,
in
yeah.
the Blind Professionals Network.
Yeah,
Let's talk about all that.
Yeah. Okay. So
Story
when
time.
I know, right? As if I haven't been running my mouth this whole
No,
time
you're
already,
good.
but that's okay. So, so when I first got here and I seen that, I've just always been so. When I was in San Diego, I was trying to think of where I was from. When I was from San Diego, even while I was blind, I started a nonprofit organization for inner city young ladies between the ages of 5 and 17.
That's awesome.
And so I did that. That was like my blind comeback. Like, can I do it? Can I do it?
Yeah.
But it was still, it had nothing to do with blind people. But it was for girls, right? And so I started that nonprofit out there. And when I came out here, I said, Houston is huge, by the way. It's just huge.
Little bit.
It's huge. And so I was like, but, I knew everybody in San Diego was such a close-knit circle with, just with the girls and all that stuff. I said, but I really want to make a difference in those that I can relate with. And
Right.
so from that, we started, it was me and a group of people, we started an organization called Blind Buddies. And that was
So
my
you
first
started
start.
Blind Buddies. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Because I kept
yes.
seeing these little social media things pop up
Yes.
every now and then. And I was
Yes.
like, who is this? That's
Yes,
cool.
So that was me. So I co-founded that. And so we did that. I did that for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then after doing, and that was just that opened my eyes to a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the blind community, and how good that I can help others to feel that they can and can succeed and be successful in their blindness journey, right?
Yeah.
So after I did that for 3 years, I said, you know what, it's not enough. You get to a certain point where you want more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that is when I founded the Blind Professionals Network.
Yes. Shout out to
and-
BPN.
Yes. And
So important.
And that's, oh my God, that's come a long way.
Yes,
And-
it has.
And starting out, it's just, and it was on Zoom, by the
Yeah.
way. But Zoom, nobody knew about Zoom. I don't even know how I
Until
knew about
COVID.
Zoom. Right. I
Yeah.
don't even know how in 2019, I was doing that on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
But where Zoom came from, I can't remember. But, it was 40 people. Okay.
Wow.
40 people. I'm like, that's, but again, my attitude is if I can help one person, that's enough for me,
Yeah, right.
So, but then COVID hit.
Yeah.
What happens when COVID hits? We are forced to be at home and have nothing to do.
Right.
Membership jumped from 40 to it was like 270.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did that and then just developed that and now have a good team with that and was doing that and my business coaching and all that, those things. And then I was doing work and still had a full-time job, by the way, doing.
During
other
COVID?
things. Yeah. Yes. I was working
Really?
from home during COVID. Yes.
Nice.
I was a quality analyst.
Nice.
Yes. So I was doing that and then doing my own business, doing BPN. Was doing all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and you and I and some other girls were involved in a little
Do the
thing too.
yes.
Yes, like we
remember
talked
that?
about doing our own
Yes,
podcast
yes,
for a
and
while.
was doing that.
Yes.
Exactly. So, I just have my hands in so many different
You
things.
do.
And so then, after that, I was, just kind of at a point where, just trying to decide where I wanted to go and how I can be a better value to our community.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where actually the opportunity came here. And I was actually on the board for the Lighthouse.
Right.
For a year.
Yeah.
And so I did that, yes, and it was a great experience, and loved it and being part of. And so I felt with that, I was like, okay, what better way to be a part of the community than to be a part of what is being put out for our community?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so I thought that was great. But then, even better is being able to work at the Lighthouse as the manager of education and training, because what's even better than that? Like being
Absolutely.
able to be that hands-on in what is being serviced and offered to our community.
Absolutely. And you got a lot of stuff on deck too, man.
I do. And
Yes, you
having
do.
that is just, that makes me feel so good. And
Yeah.
just to know that I can actually make a difference from the back end and on the front end, and it's for our people
And in the middle, and it is for our people.
It's for our people. I always say my daughter says, I say these are my people. She's like, Mom, you act like you guys are your own little race or something. I'm like, well, I feel like
we're
we
a community.
Yeah, we
we're
are.
a community.
We're a population.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that is very underserved.
So doing that, and then so the last thing I was like, you know what, this is not enough. I want to spread awareness about all of the positivity in this community, right? I want people to hear about the stuff we have, the resources we have for us, which is then I decided to, on top of everything else, start a podcast.
Yeah.
And that's where Blind Table Talk came in. And that's just strictly, it's empowering. It is some place where it's a relatable platform for BVIs to know that we know the struggles. We understand. We're all in this together.
Exactly. And so Blind Table Talk, I mean, you guys discuss a lot of social kind of issues and things like that.
Yeah, we do. We try to do socials, but what I like to do is one of our main things, the social stuff is the fun stuff, right?
Yeah, right.
But I also bring guests on that are from organizations.
Good.
Cool. That share resources.
Yeah.
I bring entrepreneurs on so that they can share their journey, so that they can show others that in our community that it's possible.
Yeah.
We bring other podcasts on so that we can, there's a lot of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of podcasts.
Yep.
And matter of fact, there was a list out there, top 100.
Yeah.
And Blind Table Talk was number 19.
I saw that.
And
Congratulations.
thank you. We also had another one that we did called BVI Empowered. That was number 73.
Nice.
And so, but my thing was
all over the charts.
Yeah. And so I said, but so what? 100? I mean, that's not a big deal. There's what is there? 120 podcasts out there, and who? Yeah. And so somebody said there's like 700 and something. There's almost 1,000 blind. And I said, oh well, okay. I guess it does make a difference.
It's pretty cool.
It's a big deal. So, but there's so many out there, and it's not for me. It's never competition ever.
Yeah.
The more that is out there for us, the better.
Oh God, absolutely.
So I promote. If somebody is just starting their podcast, come to our table. We will share that. I want everybody to know that there is so much out there for us, and that's really what it's all about. So, yeah.
How important is building connections and mentorships and empowering the blind and low vision community?
Very.
Exactly.
I mean, and I'm going to tell you why. Because in which and there's a lot of reasons, but for me, the main thing, I did not accept and come to who I am and step into my role as a positive, empowering, confident, independent, blind woman, right?
Yeah.
Or if people first did, woman that is blind.
Yeah.
I didn't come into that until I got around and seen others like me.
Yeah.
Because nothing against sighted people. I love you. I have much respect for that. But a sighted person cannot tell me, oh, you can do it. You'll be okay. You got this. It's possible. You can tell me that all day long, but you don't know my struggle.
Right.
You have no idea what it's like to be blind. But when I got around people in our community that are they've done this, they've been through this struggle, they have succeeded, that is what let me know I could be okay. I will be okay. I had to get around others like me to be able to understand that this is possible. Because being around everybody that's not like me, I felt different, isolated, and I felt like I was the only one. Mm-hmm. And that caused I was depressed.
Yep.
It causes depression because nobody gets it. Nobody understands me. Nobody gets me.
As hard as they will attempt to try,
they
just don't get it.
Exactly.
Like you just don't get it, whether it's, a lifelong vision loss or just lost your vision a second ago. Yeah. They're never going to get it.
Exactly.
And so and we love y'all, but y'all don't get
it. So and I hope that I relay how strong I feel about that importance. Because
absolutely.
That is just, there's nothing, and every time I come across people, even at work, when people call and say, oh, I want to, I've just lost my sight, I wanted to get some assistive technology training, which is, great and awesome, but, there's so much more than assistive technology training.
Yes.
You'll get here,
but
there's so much you can do beforehand, and starting with our community.
Absolutely.
Because you're at home thinking your life is over, I can't do it, because you haven't seen anybody that is blind like you that has done it.
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
Sorry, I feel strongly about that.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. What about some success stories of people that you've impacted or mentored?
So I just think, here's the thing. Success it can be measured in many different ways, right? So success to me is the fact that somebody is now stepping into their role in life as a confident blind individual.
Yeah.
So I have plenty of success stories, because anytime somebody comes to me and says, Victoria, if it wasn't for you, I would have never went and applied for that job.
Nice.
And I would have never, had the nerve or confidence, because that's what I used to do with them on a one, do the coaching and help them to get prepared for employment, and which is what I do here.
Yeah.
And is job readiness.
Yep.
Because you can have the skills, which we know that is necessary, right? But there's so much more to it. The skills is nothing without the confidence.
Right.
And so there are so many that, I have tried to help and empower and say, this is your reality. Now you have to work it.
Yeah.
And so those are the kinds of success stories I like. Has anybody worked with me and went and made $10 million? No, but that's
but
not.
they succeeded.
Yeah, exactly. It's not what it's about for me.
It's hard for blind folks to just succeed.
And it is.
Have a job and go home and do their thing every day.
I had one client who would not take paratransit by themselves.
Oh, wow.
And, and I said, I will come and do it with you the first time and go with you. And then the next time I'm going to have you meet me at lunch at a restaurant. And of course, the other thing was by ourselves, just two blind people, which, by the way, I do it all the time. But somebody who doesn't know. And when we set it up to meet at the restaurant, she got there and she just cried.
Oh.
And I'm not a crier, and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna make me cry." But yeah, she cried. She said, "I would have never done this if you had not encouraged me and gave me the strength that I needed." So I said, "No, I didn't give you the strength. You gave yourself the strength.
Exactly.
You did this.
Get on the
I
proverbial
encouraged
horse."
You. Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, that's how I rate my success. And those stories of the small ones, especially the ones that think that their life is over now, that they cannot see any longer.
Yeah.
But to have them, to show them that, I could live a nice, full life. I just can't see.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
We never have to drive.
Right. Which, by the way, it's already, I hated driving when I could see. So.
I feel like I would hate it,
Yeah,
too. I'd probably be giving everybody the finger and all of it. Anyways,
yes,
whatever.
Exactly.
All right. Victoria, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experiences with us today. This has been an awesome conversation.
Thank you for having me.
I knew you were going to be such a great guest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have any final tips or tricks or advice for someone who's newly blind or low vision, that could help them on their journey to independence?
I think one of the main things, and I live by this, is I would never give advice that I don't live by, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so important to, live by what you preach.
Yeah.
But one of the things is to not give up. And I know that's said all the time. Don't give up. You can do it. Just keep trying. But no, for us as blind people, there's doors for employment. They're closed in your face way more than they're opened, right?
Yep.
But do not give up. I just keep on going, because if nothing else, at some point you're going to be as close to perfect as you can be at what you keep trying to do. And that is the best thing. I just never give up. And, we all go into our slumps, our moments, our depressions, our self-doubt. It's normal. We all do it. I've been blind 20 years. I still do it.
Yep.
But it's okay. Just know how to pull ourselves out and know that, keep that fight in you.
It's absolutely okay to feel the feelings. It's
definitely.
absolutely okay.
Definitely.
And it's probably good for you,
Yeah,
to
it is. You're human.
You're a human
Yes,
being,
we're normal.
not a blind robot.
Yes, exactly.
So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And that's it. Just stay encouraged, stay empowered. I love that word, empowered. People say I overuse it all the time, but I don't care. Empowered.
Exactly. Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Yes, your dedication to the community and the work you do with the Lighthouse of Houston is so inspiring, and we really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
To our listeners, hi guys. We hope you found this episode both informative and motivating. Remember, you can find more episodes of Sightless Voices, Unleashing Potential, proudly brought to you by the Lighthouse of Houston, on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to check out our other episodes, also wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the Lighthouse of Houston on social media for updates. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.